Hello everybody, this is Danny Avila. Welcome to my studio here in Madrid. Today I want to show you how I made The Unknown, which is a track that I released on HEXAGON. So let's get straight into it. So I think first thing to mention is that the track is not a very complex track. I think it's quite simple, but sometimes less is more. So the first thing I got and how I started working on the song was the vocal. All right, so this is the first thing I got from the writers.
Hold you in my arms, but I still feel cold. Fatal paradise.
I added this plugin called Pitch Wheel, and I put down two semitones on the format, so it sounds a little bit more vocoder kind of thing. Before it sounded like this.
Hold you in my arms, but I still feel cold.
So I like that feeling much better. I also got a vocoder from the writers, which I added in the mix.
Hold you in my arms, but I still feel cold. Fatal paradise.
But I tweaked it a little bit with Nectar. You got this option that you can pretty much analyze the whole vocal, and it gives you a very great approach on how to improve your vocals, and I use this one a lot. So this is another layer of the vocal, and this is the reverb. So everything together sounds like this.
I hold you in my arms, but I still feel cold. Fatal paradise.
Sounds very warm, very full as well. Because I wanted to keep the break very simple, I didn't add that much stuff to it. So the main thing that is playing on the first break is this bass sound. So it keeps this atmospheric kind of feel to it. It starts with minus 12 dB of gain, so goes kind of smoothly all the way up. And then I also added this string sound on top. So it's kind of empty, but at the same time it sounds pretty full. This string is from Nexus, so altogether it sounds like this.
I hold you in my arms, but I still feel cold. Fatal paradise.
All right, then we go a little bit towards the next part, and then this is where we add some pianos here. Then we add some strings. We have two layers of strings, one that is playing the chords, and then one that is playing the actual melody. And then this one is coming in with a filter. And then together with the pianos. Alright, something that I do quite often on build-ups, I add certain plugins to create a little bit of tension. And in this case, on this group, I most of the time use this plugin from Data Life, the Endless Smile, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know about it. But then it helps to create the transitions much better and a little bit more smooth. So that's about it, I think, in the break. Then we got some percussion coming in. We got some snaps. Some shakers together with the piano, together with the vocals. And then we have this brass sound, which is actually very important in the break. It makes it much fuller, in my opinion. If out muted, you would really feel the difference. It's this one here. On the build-up, there's not that much percussion happening. Actually, there's mainly this 808 snare coming in. So it's coming in with the endless smile to create a little bit of tension. It's also coming in with a filter, and that's pretty much it with the elements on the break. Like I said before, it's not a very complex track when it comes to elements. Let's go to the drop part. So the drop part, I think the main element over here is are the vocal chops. So there's so many different ways on how to create vocal chops. I've tried, most of the time I've done it manually on audio tracks. So I would cut the vocal track in separate parts and then actually pitch those separate parts individually. I've also done it with the Logic sampler. I think that's also a really great way to see it, but there's a lot of tutorials about that. You can also use other plugins like Output, for instance, but in this case I did it manually, just cutting certain parts from the vocal and creating this section here. And then I put all of those in the same group where I have the same sidechain for all those chops at the same time. Added a little bit of reverb, EQ'd it a little bit, put those highs a little bit up to make it a bit more, make it shine through the mix a little better. A bit more EQ, just to get rid of some peaks and stuff. And then I added a de-esser because of de-ess was kind of like a bit too annoying on the mix. And this is the main element on the drop, the vocal chops, which together with the kick drum sounds like this. Then the kick drum, this is actually a kick drum that I used I think on 70% of my productions. This one actually, I love how it sounds. I've used it on many tracks like Good Times, this one, My Love, and a lot of other tracks. What I do sometimes is I play around 2000 hertz, which makes the kick be inserted in the track a little bit better. So you can, it's a little trick that I do sometimes. I play around 2000 hertz and I make the kick drum a little bit more smooth in the track. Next thing, well, let's go through some percussion here. We got some snaps, we got some claps. These claps, what I do a lot of times, I bounce out stems from tracks that I've done before. So for instance, this one are the claps that I used on Good Times, which is another track I made some time ago. It sounds like this. Then we got strings on the drop, which are these ones. Which, if you play them by themselves, they can sound a little bit boring, but together with the whole thing, it adds something to it. There's 3 layers. This one first. This is a layer that I used on a track of mine called End of the Night, so I save those presets here on Logic, and then I can easily find them out again. And then the 3 layers together like this. And then next important sound will be the brass sound. This is a very important sound in the drop. I changed the key of the brass on flex mode here in Logic. So this is how I made the melody. Then I added this transient plugin from Native Instruments to have a little bit more attack. Sidechain, the glue compressor to make it a little bit more glued together. And then next sound on the drop would be the bass, right? The bass, this is a bass sound that I made on Silence about 2 years ago, and I've been playing around with it for a lot of tracks that I made in the past. So this is how it sounds. Without any plugins, it would sound like this. So add EQ, compression, kickstart, OTT, drop. This would be like a top kind of bass. Then I have the sub bass playing underneath. This together with the stab, the brass sounds. Together with the violin. And together with the chops. And then this is pretty much the main. These are the main elements on the drop. Then when we go to the second part of the drop, we got some pianos coming in just to make it a little bit more interesting, to add some more stuff happening. And then we have some effects, like some white noise I add right here on the drop. This is the init preset from Silent. Just EQ it a lot, and I add that to a lot of tracks. I do the white noise myself so I can play around with it a little bit easier. Then we got some just extra stuff like some effects, some sub drops, down filters, basic stuff to make it interesting, and that's about it. So all together it sounds like this. And finally, let's have a look into the master chain. In this case, I use the Ozone 9, which I'm using a maximizer here and a limiter here. That's already doing quite a lot to make it sound a little bit more altogether, more compressed, a little bit louder. And this is something that I use frequently as the T-Rex. Basically what you do here, you're able to drag a track and it analyzes the EQ line of the other track, and you can compare it to that one. So your track is going to sound a little bit similar to the other one. So what I tend to do, depends on what kind of track it is, I try to drag a similar track to it, and then I will adjust a little bit the EQ. So this is what I did. These are the changes that it made through the whole EQ of the final master of the track. So with that being said, this is the project of The Unknown. I hope you guys liked it, and hope to see you guys very soon. Ciao.